The state of New Mexico is using taxpayer dollars to refer their citizens to the Satanic Temple Abortion Center in New Mexico. Could you make a headline that was more religious and spiritual in nature? This is the dark underbelly of the culture war. This proves what conservatives and pro-lifers have been trying to tell you for decades, that the culture war that so many Christians refuse to engage and contend in was a proxy war for a far, far deeper spiritual war. It's Satan. Yeah, the old baby killer. Satan, who kind of has this thing for killing babies in the Old Testament, especially when such a baby could pose a threat to his political power, Jesus. And so today, the Democrat Party kills babies because it's how they shore up their political power. It's like the same thing. It's the sacrament of humanism. It's the sacrament of the Democrat Party. And now the governor of New Mexico, Governor Lujan Grisham's, is using New Mexico taxpayer dollars to fund a hotline that refers women wanting to kill their babies to the Satanic Temple Abortion Center. And right after the overturning of Roe versus Wade, a few months after, the Satanic Temple of New Mexico came out and announced the creation of a new abortion center. Okay? It's an abortion center operated by Satan, by Satanists, people who worship Satan. And they called this temple, this abortion center, sorry, Freudian slip, Samuel Alito's Mom Satanic Abortion Clinic. They called it, I'm not kidding. You're like, this guy's a weirdo. No, go look it up. The Samuel Alito's Mom's Satanic Abortion Center. Why? Because Samuel Alito helped overturn Roe versus Wade. And they said in the announcement of this Satanic Abortion Temple Center clinic, that if Samuel Alito's mom, this is actually what they said. You can't get more wicked and evil than this. They said, if Samuel Alito's mom had been able to exercise her right to bodily autonomy, we might not be in this position, is what they were saying. Meaning what? Oh, well, if Samuel Alito's mom had just killed Samuel Alito in the womb through a satanic sacrament, then he wouldn't have been there to overturn Roe versus Wade, and it would have gone the other way. That's literally what they're saying. They're saying, we wish death upon Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito. We want him aborted. We want him dead. We want him to be a fourth trimester abortion. So the government of New Mexico was caught referring women to the Satanic Temple Health Line, the abortion clinic in New Mexico. Now, what's really tragic is, a lot of people don't know this, but I know we always think New York, Virginia, and California and Washington maybe as some of the worst states with the worst policies. New Mexico's actually right up there, if not worse than some of those states in terms of governance and evil laws and policies. New Mexico's abortion rate has doubled since the overturning of Roe versus Wade last year. In 2021, New Mexico abortion business reported 4,900 abortions, 4,900. That number jumped to 11,000 in 2022. And in 2023, New Mexico abortion businesses have already ended the lives of 5,300 innocent babies, 5,300 in just about the first half of 2023. Now, if there was ever a story that more clearly proved the spiritual nature, right? The warring of religions that is actually taking place invisibly before our very eyes, then this story, I don't know which one I could tell you. The Satanic Temple has so proven what I've been trying to tell you about the demonic, satanic, evil nature of child sacrifice through abortion, that when Texas first passed their heartbeat bill and deputized citizens to file civil suits against people who obtain, perform, or assist in abortions in Texas, the Satanic Temple came out. You might remember this. And they actually sued, they filed lawsuits under religious liberty and freedom clauses. like when a Christian says, I don't want to bake a cake for a gender transition surgery because you're chopping your penis off, and I believe that, you know, you are how God created you, and that's a good thing, and you should align your gender identity with your biological sex, that God intentionally made you beautifully. And so I'm not going to use my skills and talents like Jack Phillips in Colorado to design a cake to celebrate such a wicked thing. Right, and we say those are my Christian beliefs. That's a religious liberty clause. Well, Satanists, the Satanic Temple, filed lawsuits in Texas after, right before the overturning of Roe v. Wade, but with Texas's pro-life law, literally saying, they announced it in their own press release, that abortion, they said, is one of our sacramental rituals. That's what the Satanists are calling abortion, not reproductive health care. Okay, not bodily autonomy, a sacramental ritual that is holy and necessary for the practicing of their religion. Okay, like we need to murder the children. Like, could you more obviously be manifesting the spirit of Baal and Moloch than by saying it's a sacrament that we need to practice in our religion? This is what we mean when we say all human conflict is ultimately theological. They argued for the right to exercise their abortion sacrament in pro-life states that have significantly restricted abortions. Why is this? Because for Satanists, and really, actually, for the entire pro-abortion industrial complex and worldview today, abortion is the pagan replacement for man's pursuit of eternal life. Let me say that again. Abortion is the pagan, dare we say satanic, replacement for man's pursuit of eternal life. Because abortion says, you must die so I can live. But Christ says, no, I must die so you can live. Do you see, it's the antithesis gospel, because all Satan can do is invert, pervert, and copycat. That's why he takes the rainbow, which is like a sign that God will never wipe out the earth by water again because of disgusting immorality that was culturally normalized and celebrated. And so what does the rainbow become? It becomes a symbol of disgusting immorality that's culturally celebrated and normalized. All Satan can do is invert and pervert. He has no original stories. So abortion is the pagan replacement for man's pursuit of eternal life, because rather than accepting the broken body and shed blood of Christ for eternal life, the Moloch, servile Baal worshippers and Satanic Temple demand that we break the bodies and shed the blood of babies for eternal life. Do you understand what I'm saying? Maybe not. Let me explain. Ever heard of embryonic stem cell research? Ever heard of fetal organ harvesting, fetal tissue research? Ever heard of prenatal gene editing? We'll put a little screenshot in here for you. We cover this stuff in depth. Scientists are working on this stuff. Prenatal gene editing. Ever heard of human-animal hybrid organ harvesting? You make a little human-animal hybrid and you develop them a little bit, and then they don't live, and you take their organs so that real people can have their organs. So, do you see a common denominator with any of those secular sacramental rituals? Huh? What's the common denominator? Who's red-pilled? Who sees it? You must die so I can live. The baby is sacrificed for man's pursuit of eternal life. Embryonic stem cell research always justified with the hope that it will provide new breakthroughs to solve diseases for real born persons with rights. But the baby's killed in the process. Fetal organ harvesting, fetal tissue research. Kill the baby to get their organs. You only get them if the baby's dead. You must die so I can live. Prenatal gene editing. Let's poke and prod and try to edit the baby's genes. Oops, they die in the process. But if we can perfect that gene editing on little babies who become an acceptable sacrifice for man's pursuit of eternal life, we can apply it on ourselves when it's safe, and we can edit out of our gene code certain susceptibilities to diseases and disorders so we can live just a little bit longer. Yeah, abortion is the pagan replacement for man's pursuit of eternal life. And true radical abortion apologists have admitted this for a long time. I'm not speaking for them. I'm quoting them. Jeanette Paris wrote a book when I was 1 year old in 1992. You want to know the name of the book? The Sacrament of Abortion. The Sacrament of Abortion. That's the title of the book. Go look it up. Jeanette Paris. Here's what she said. She said, I have drawn inspiration throughout this book from a guiding image, the Artemis of Greek mythology. You know what's weird about that? Artemis was the goddess of childbirth. Isn't that kind of ironic? Childbirth, but no, now abortion is a sacrifice. It's a sacrament of the goddess of childbirth who births children, and now you're murdering them before they're born. She said it is not immoral to choose abortion. It's simply another kind of morality, a pagan one. That's what she says. It's a pagan kind of morality. She says it's time to stop being defensive about it. It's time to point an accusatory finger back at the other camp and denounce its own immoral stance. And then she says abortion is a sacrifice to Artemis. It is a sacrament for the gift of life to remain pure. She said our culture needs new rituals as well as laws to restore abortion to its sacred dimension, which is both terrible and necessary. Sacred is to declare something holy and worthy of worship. They worship abortion. It's a sacrament. It's a religion. It's a cult of death. And the killing of babies has always been Satan's pride and joy. Do you understand this? Satan would kill God if he could, but he can't. So he kills babies because he knows it wounds the heart of God and causes chaos on earth. The reason Satan hates babies is because 2,000 years ago, it was a baby that came to defeat him. And he hates all human beings who bear the image of God because you're his natural enemy, and reminds him that he has a date coming on the calendar. His days are numbered, but in the meantime, he will cause as much chaos, murder, and heartache as he can because he knows it hurts God, the creator of life and human beings in whose image you were made in. This is the dark, religious, spiritual warfare that was always raging like a war of angels and demons just under the surface of the culture war, that too many of us Christians and pastors in America were too spiritually impotent and ignorant to see what was happening and to live accordingly. We need to be like Francis Schaeffer once again and ask this question: how then shall we live? When the Satanists are saying it's a sacramental ritual and your taxpayer dollars in New Mexico are being used to fund a hotline that directs women to literally satanic sacraments in the killing of their children, which you're supposed to respect as a blessing of liberty and religious freedom so the Satanists can murder children. If you think that is religious liberty, you do not understand anything about America, and you do not understand anything about the Christian faith that birthed this country. Wake up, stand up, and get comfortable with being uncomfortable before this pagan ancient religion and ideology wipes you out as well.